I want to talk to you about a guy named Albert. Albert was a security guard who sat in the lobby of the building where I once worked. Everybody called him Al. Guy was probably in his early 60s, very pleasant fellow who dutifully handled the overnight shift in a downtown Denver office building. I arrived for my morning radio show each weekday about 4:30 in the morning. Ugh, that's a ridiculous time to go anywhere. The only benefit to working those hours is the next to nothing traffic on the road, and you do usually get a pretty good parking spot. Anyway, Al was the first person I interacted with to start each day. I would get off the elevator from the underground parking garage, and then on my way to the other elevator to go up to the 11th floor, I'd pass his security station. Every once in a while, Al would be asleep, which always made me smile. I mean, working an overnight shift in a mostly soundless building each night, I'm sure I'd occasionally nod off too. But on most days, I'd give him a friendly little wave and I'd say, "Good morning, Al. How's your night been?" And every single time, Al would answer in the same way. He had this very deep bass voice with a bit of a sing-song delivery. I can still hear it today. He would always answer by saying, "Oh, pretty good." The next day, I'd ask the same question, or a derivative of that, and Al would sing back to me again, "Pretty good." Then I noticed something. If I said anything to Al, I'd get the same response. I could just say, "Hello, Al," and he'd reply with, "Pretty good." It became comical. It was something of a game. On most days, I'd ask him how things were going, and I got his pat answer. On other days, I would say something random like, "Cold out there this morning, Al?" And of course, he'd come back with, well, you know, "Pretty good." Now, look, there is a chance that Al was quietly playing his own little game. And if that's the case, I have mad respect for him. Well, I already have mad respect for anyone who makes a living during vampire hours, but more so if he learned to screw with idiots like me who worked in radio. And there's a side note to this. There's also a possibility that Al represents the subset of people who are completely satisfied with pretty good in all things. Maybe that's all they want out of life. But that's another sporadic thought for another time. See, I Think Al's snappy dialogue is really just a prime example of conditioning. I wasn't the only person entering the building during his watch. And if you exclude the D-bags who ignored the poor guy, I'll bet almost everyone greeted Al with some version of "How's it going?" Now multiply that times dozens of people a day, times 5 days a week, times however many years Al sat at that desk, and you would probably develop a robotic response too. Just like the automated reply you give to people in the hall at work. When you get a "How's it going?" I'm sure you probably respond with, "Oh, not bad, you?" Or, "Oh, it's all good, man." Or maybe you use Al's patented "pretty good." Because it's just social lubricant. It's how we slide past each other in a frictionless manner. I'm not knocking it. I'm just observing it and describing it. On a daily basis, we say words to our fellow humans that have no real basis in caring, but rather in coexisting. We know we are social beings who have been lumped into a large social setting, and these are the things we must do in order to acknowledge our fellow travelers, all of us spinning around the sun together. We are conditioned in more ways than just our verbal responses. We drive the same way to work every day. We eat pretty much the same foods all the time. I know families who have an unspoken agreement about their seating assignments at the dinner table and on the couch. You've got couples who sleep together and have their side of the bed. We go through the exact same morning routine every day when we get out of bed, and we seldom vary the order. Now, again, none of this is bad. In many ways, having a routine helps our productivity. Some experts insist that eating the same breakfast every morning or wearing the same basic clothes every day actually frees up brain power for more important decisions you'll need to make throughout your day. It's just interesting to note how much of our life runs on autopilot. And when we get to the point where we're not even fully aware of how we're communicating with our fellow humans, where our responses have just become some pre-programmed assortment of syllables, then it's no longer, in my opinion, a way of being more efficient. Rather, we've demoted the people around us from interesting, evolved life forms to just part of the scenery that we feel obligated to respond to. When we're having more joyous conversations with our pets when we walk in the door than we had all day with our own species, it says something to me. And believe me, no one on the planet gets more joyous talk from me than my cat Niles the Weirdo when I haven't seen him all day. So my point regarding Al's two-word answer, maybe it's just to make ourselves aware of how we're communicating with the people around us. Maybe we try to put just a smidge more effort into our responses to them, using words and phrases outside the ordinary. I mean, I know when someone says something to me that I didn't expect, I pay more attention to them. I see them, perhaps really for the first time. We have such a gift when it comes to communication. And I don't mean our phones. I mean our language. Surely the most advanced among all species. Well, unless the whales and octopuses and dolphins are having a really good laugh at our expense. We each deserve to give and to receive a little better than pretty good. If you've got thoughts, leave them in the comments. And thank you so much for taking the time to enjoy some sporadic thoughts. I'm Testa.